Right. See, this is more fun for me. Your struggle.
That this time I'm not even trying to bug you. I'm bugging myself.
I know, and I'm
like,
just saying that
no,
I can see the struggle is fun to watch.
it's real. Just gonna say, of anybody I know, you're the hardest person to surprise or like try to surprise with anything. Not because like you're hard to surprise, but because I get excited about the things and then I want to tell you because I tell you everything else. So then it's like extremely hard to like remember not to tell you certain things. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
GD nightmare. Anyways.
You have to tell people in your house. Like, that's the thing is like, you know, it's funny because like
Nobody cares. They won't be as excited.
I know, but it's funny because I can tell Ada stuff. Like if I have something have something planned for Jason, which is bad planning because she'll just tell him.
Yeah.
Or something if it was something for you, I can like tell her. And it's not the same. She doesn't care the same, but I can get it out to somebody. Yeah. Another girl.
Yeah.
So call Ada. But that's a bad plan.
Yeah, she'll just end up telling you. Yeah. All right. Heidi ho, neighbor.
Hello.
How goes?
Should we say hi who we are?
No, I'm not introducing myself anymore. Yeah, I don't care.
I'm NalediS.
I'm Thamo. And this officially now has a name, I guess, the On the Lamb podcast. Which I will say, I will probably use the word podcast infrequently because when I think of podcast, I still think of iTunes audio only podcasts. So I stumble over it a little bit when I'm referring to videos, even though I know so many people call their video podcasts. I got to find another word that feels right.
I used to feel the same as you. Mm-hmm. And because I'm like, it's funny because I have a hard time getting language out, but in my head, like I spend a lot of time like dissecting words. And like, I really feel like, you know, you don't use like my husband drives me nuts. He'll be like, can you go get the thing? And I'm like, has a name for a purpose. And so that it's like really clear for you and me what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I don't know, podcast is like a new agey word anyway.
Mm-hmm. And I get that definitions can change. And that's where it's like in my brain, I know it's kind of, I'm being ridiculous that I'm holding on to like, no, it has one definition. Like definitions change. I totally get that. I'm all for like giving words definitions that aren't even correct because I just want to use the word I want to use. But I don't know why. I just feel like it needs to be something else. I don't know. Anyways, I'll eventually, I'm sure I'll just let it go and it'll be a podcast, but whatever. It's the On the Lamb podcast. It has a name. And soon there will also be an On the Lamb, I think it's going to be On the Lamb Designs or Designs and Podcasts. We'll play around with it. Group on Ravelry, but we'll chat about that a little bit more later. Anything else? Do we need more of an introduction? We introduced ourselves in the last couple. We'll wait a few more and then do it again in case we have any new viewers. There aren't a lot of them right now. And I feel like the ones that are there are you and I and a couple people who know us or know me at least.
I was like, I wonder if every time I click in to watch, is it showing? Is it like counting my thing in the tickers?
Probably, I don't know.
There are some organic views because I'm like, okay, now I'm like consciously trying not to go in and like look at it.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it's like interesting like watching myself speak, and I like, you know, getting to watch us together because I'm like, I love talking to us, so you know, it's neat to like listen to it outside of myself. Yeah. It's a new phenomenon. That's why I keep like clicking in to be like, oh, I like watching our own home videos too.
Yeah.
So, but I like was trying really hard not to the last few days, but I can like look on like the subscriptions page and I can see that the numbers have grown without me looking. So I'm like, hey, people are watching it. That's awesome. Yeah.
That's funny. Okay. What you wearing?
Blue. Looks good. I'm wearing the Blue Ain't Your Color cowl, made or designed by handmade by, on the Thamo from On the Lamb Designs. So yeah. So this is the blue Ainture color cowl, and I did make one. That's kind of where I figured out, okay, tension is very important, and that I need to loosen up a little bit, because I made a cowl, this cowl, same design, in a fingering weight yarn, and was working away, and I don't know why, but for some reason partway through I was like, oh, let's try it on. I couldn't get it on my own head. So then we had to do some math to increase the size. I think I would have frogged it all, and started again, even though I was like halfway through it. And still, when we added, I don't even know how many more stitches we added, it was like, I could probably get this on, but it's gonna feel like it's strangling me.
Yeah.
And even trying it on Ada, my 6-year-old, she like could get it on, but it was still like a tight turtleneck on her. So I'm like, okay.
And it definitely was not like a blocking issue. It had like little to no give whatsoever. Yeah. That's how I can usually tell. Like that's my, do I block this or not? Is like if I pull on it and it has a ton of give or whatever, then I'm like, okay, it just once it's blocked, it'll be fine. But this was not a blocking issue. It was definitely a tight tension.
But I think that was like the second project that I worked on when you dragged me back to the knitting side. And I was struggling with it for some reason. Something about it was really bothering me. And then I don't know why. Hi, Miles. I don't know why, but we started talking about it one day while I was working on it, and you told me where the inspiration came from for this cowl, and then I felt like deeply in love with it because, do you want to tell the story where your inspiration came from?
Sure. So backing up a little bit, yours is, the yarn is by The Blue Brick. I think that's what it's called. Their Instagram handle is the Blue Brick-ish. And I think that colorway is called Grand Turk on their worsted-based, whatever it's called. I want to say it's called Tobermory worsted. I think it's either just superwash or like a wool nylon blend. Really nice base. And I did it in a few others. The pattern is pending, as are so many other patterns. Anyway, so inspiration wise, I don't even know how I stumbled upon it. I have a helper monkey today. We got the sickies at our house, and this one.
A fever monkey.
A fever monkey. This one has a little bit of a fever and says his ear hurts. So going to the doctor later. Do you want to go back and finish watching?
Miles, you look sick.
Yeah, can you come back and talk to Annie at the end?
Can you go build something cool on the Lego table? Add some wings to your Lego creation.
Yeah,
I want to see it, what it looks like with wings coming out the side.
Okay, go see what you can do. So funny. Yeah, I don't know how I came across it initially, but Sarah Blackwood, I was like, I knew there was black, but I couldn't remember how it ended. Sarah Blackwood from Walk Off the Earth did a cover of a country song, and I can picture the guy's face, but I can't picture.
Urban?
Yeah, Keith Urban. I wanted to say Travis something, but I was like, that's not right. Keith Urban's Blue, and then in brackets, it's Ain't Your Color. I'm not really a big country music fan, and I don't know what, it's just something about the combination of the lilt of the chorus and her voice singing it, because I listened to his version and I was like, but her voice singing it just like, I don't know what inspired me. It's attacking the Lego table. It just inspired me. And so I was like, okay, I want like a cowl, and then I want like it to be just like plain at the top, and then to have like a pattern that sort of like slowly emerges the way that the chorus kind of grows or builds. And then there was also this specific yarn colorway by Gauge Dye Works that I had seen many times and was like, someday I'm going to make something with that. And then I was like, yes, this and that in combination. So I won't say much more about the Gauge Dye Works part of it, and I will talk about that more when the pattern is ready. It's basically ready. I just haven't put the finishing touches on it. But when I actually showed the sample, it would make much more sense. So we'll chat about that more later. But yeah, that's that.
They're my favorite band, so I just love. I mean, that's comfy anyway. I think I want to do another one. Because the thing is, so part of the story was I was like struggling with it. I can't remember what it was now that I was struggling with so much when I was. Yeah. So when you told me this story about, where you were like, you got the inspiration from the song, which still like boggles my brain. I'm like, how can you hear a song and think of a pattern? It's cool. I think it's fantastic. And they're a really creative band because they do a lot of covers and they find like creative ways to, make the song their own. So I'm like, it's the same kind of thing. Although like she was like Sarah Blackwood was like brushing her teeth one time while her husband, Johnny, who's also in the band, was playing a song. And she's like, this toothbrush like buzzing is the same pitch as the guitar. So they ended up using that in a song as well. So I'm like, it's kind of the same thing. Like you draw inspiration from like anything you're doing in the world. Like it doesn't matter what it is. And so the plan was, I'm like, I'm going to finish this and send it to her, even though that might be a little bit creepy. I don't care. I'm like, I think that even if she doesn't wear it, like the knowing that like something that she did inspired you to continue.
Yeah.
It's cool, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's cool for me a little bit too, because that particular yarn brand happens to, I don't know if they're still in Burlington, but I believe at least when they started their business, they were in Burlington. And I think when I ordered that, they were in Burlington. But now I think it says Toronto, so I'm not sure if they moved or what. But Walk Off the Earth is from Burlington. We grew up in Burlington. The yarn is from Burlington. I was like, it's
Burlington, Ontario, Canada. Yeah, Ontario, Canada.
Yes, not in Vermont or wherever else there are Burlingtons. Anyways, yeah.
Cool.
I think I'm gonna keep getting small person bummed. As soon as I'm done chatting with Annie, I will come and watch Cars 2 with you. As if we weren't together all night. Because he was waking up every like 45 minutes crying and carrying on.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Not feeling good. Like he was not legitimately not feeling good, but it's just like I saw you.
No, I'm just thinking like when they're sick, even Jason too is the exact same. I'm like, when I am sick, I'm like, I relish in this space. I'm like, why is this the only time I get to be alone?
Yeah.
It's more often, but when everyone else in my house is sick, like they just need to be on me. Yeah. Yeah. They're like, I'm stealing your health.
Yeah, right? Tiny vampires. Although it's funny because the last 2 nights, so like, yeah, last night and the night before, Miles came into our bed because my kids still come into my bed regularly. But he came in like in the middle of the night, stayed with us for probably like 15 minutes of like tossing and turning. And he's like, I'm too hot. Can I go back to my bed? Like, you can. Like, because Steve like radiates heat. And then if you're not feeling well, like sometimes, being too hot just makes you feel so yeah, it just like cracked me up a little bit. He's like, I want to come to your bed. Can I go back to my bed? Sure, I'll get up again. Like, I don't need sleep. I'm a robot.
Oh, that's the only time I'd be happy to get up is to be like, yes, I will walk you back.
It's like I was happy to get up, but I also am like, I just want to
yeah.
Yeah, I'm tired now. And I'm sorry if my audio is quiet. My voice is kind of growly today, so I feel like I can't talk as loudly as I normally do. Anyways, I am wearing the asymmetric cowl. The pattern is, oh gosh, I was going to look up her real name. Dang it. On Instagram, she is Tattooed Knitters. Her yarn line and I guess pattern line is Punkrock Unicorn. I really love her yarns.
I know who you're talking about now. Okay, yeah.
She's in Germany, I think. And I really love her. I don't know what the right word is for it, but just the way she chooses colors and what she pairs together. She's had some really, really gorgeous colorways that I just really love. This isn't her yarn. This is Flamingo colorway by Kate Celine is her Instagram handle. And it's DK weight. So the pattern is designed to use 1 skein of DK weight yarn, but you use 2 strands together. So like work from both ends of the ball. But I just love, it's like, you know, like all my favorite cowl designs. It's shorter in the back, a little longer in the front. And then I love this like applied I-cord at the top. So it just adds like a little bit of structure so that it's not so like, because sometimes they're collapsy or like they're falling open, and then I feel like, well, what was the point of wearing that? Whereas this, I feel like I can stand it up and it kind of stays. I don't know, I just really like it. Because today I'm just wearing like a zippy hoodie, so it's just kind of like we were talking about last week, that, you know, a little short cowl that's a little longer in the front like fits perfectly in a zippy hoodie. So it doesn't feel bulky. I don't feel like the hood and the collar are like competing with like scarfy bits and longer parts. And so it just like perfectly tucks in without me feeling like, oh, now there's all this bulk underneath my sweater. And yeah, I like it. It's quite comfortable.
Looks cute. It looks cute. Yeah, I like it. I liked whatever colorway she used for hers as well. You know, I can't even picture it now, but I remember looking at it before.
I feel like it was like browny and yellowy or something like that. But
yeah, I don't think it would have looked good on me, but I really liked her picture when she was like to the side with it on. Yeah.
And she recently made one, because so the pattern comes with like this size, the adult size, and then like a smaller one that you could use for kids or pets. And she made one. I guess she made one for her dog that in this new colorway that she has. That's, I want to say it's called Berry Smoothie or something like that. So it has like purples and pinks and then like, so like a darker kind of charcoal color in it. And I was like, yes, that's so cute. And I love a good 1 skein project that's not like unwearably small. Some 1 skein projects I feel like, well, it's cute, but like it's so tiny that I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Like, you know, hook it on my ears and wear it over my mouth. Like it just like, it always like they look so teeny sometimes. So I'm like, this is like perfect 1 skein project, because it's like, you know, with the double strand together, it's got that warmth, and yeah, I quite like it. And it was a super fast knit, super fast, which I like too.
When does your 100 Days of Flamingo yarn end?
It should end December 31st, but the last like probably week at least, I've been like, I was thinking about that today, then I was like, I have fallen off that wagon. And not because I don't want to do it or anything, but because this project is like, feels like it's becoming a saga. It's taking over my life. Anyway, so I'm hoping we can go to whips, I guess, now. Yeah, this red wrap over there. Simpsons fans? No, anyway. This red wrap is, yeah, it's taken over my life. So last podcast, so I have more done, but last time we recorded, I was talking about how I cast it on, knit a bunch, tried to put in like a patterny panel, ripped it out, started again, did a different thing, ripped it back, did a different thing, ripped it back. Then I was trying like straight stockinette with like a sand stitch border. And I liked the look of it, but I was like, I feel like it doesn't have drape. Like it was too stiff. And for the way I want to wear it, like I want buttons on this shoulder and then kind of like sweeping around. It needs to be like scrunchable on this side, or long enough that it's not going to feel like it's pulling this shoulder in, you know, like there just needs to be like a fair amount of give or drape or whatever you want to call it. So I was like, okay, this is not working. Rip that out. Well, I didn't really rip it out. I started from the other end of the ball, experimenting with a few other things to decide what else I wanted to do. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to go to Tunisian crochet, because then it will be fast. And then I can hopefully use like a bigger hook size and get better drape. So I started doing this. So it's Tunisian crochet, as I said. I can't remember what this stitch pattern here is actually called. To me, it looks like a honeycomb, but I think it actually has a different name. I want to say it's not moss stitch, but where you like knit one, purl one, and then alternate it on the other row. So like the knits, like not a rib, but the knits and the purls stagger. What do you call that? Seed stitch. I think it's called seed stitch because it's sort of worked the same as a seed stitch, alternating purls and Tunisian simple stitch. And then this middle section is just Tunisian knit stitch. So I liked it because I'm like, it looks knitted, even though it's Tunisian crochet. And I used like a 6.5 millimeter hook, and it's sport weight yarn. So I thought, oh, it'll be more drapey. And I'm like, it does have like some movement, but because of the nature of Tunisian crochet, the fabric is much thicker than a knitted fabric. So I like, it's because of that density, it doesn't have that same scrunchiness. I don't know. Like, I feel like it would have good structure if I wanted like a cowl that was going to stay sort of standing up. But for something that's going to like wrap, I was like, ugh, I'm like, no, I don't think it's going to work. So I thought about changing my idea and just making it more of like a cowl with buttons down the side. But I was like, but I want to be able to, if the restaurant is cold, keep it on over my dress while we are at dinner. And so I'm like, then if it's a cowl, like I'm not going to eat dinner with like a tall cowl up like this. So I was like, bah, it's not going to work. And I had significantly more than this done. I was probably like a good 2 feet of fabric that I was like, angry now, ripping it out. So I was like, all right, nuts to this. I'm just going to keep it super simple. And it's just garter stitch with big eyelets on the either side so that I can button it in different directions. So the plan is just to probably end up knitting to the end of the yarn, because I got about this much left. And I made it about, I mean, it has tons of give. So this is that, I talked about it last week, but the Clun Forest Sport by Sheep Spot. Since discontinued yarn, as she's getting out of yarn dyeing and moving to more spinning and spinning supplies. But what I think is really cool is that on the inside of the label, she put information about the sheep, about the Clun Forest breed of sheep. So Clun Forest, like I said, is a different breed of sheep. So instead of a merino sheep, it's the Clun Forest. And one thing that it was saying is how, because the crimp of their fleece is more irregular. It has like a lot of give to it. It has a lot of stretchiness, elasticity. So, I mean, for this amount of fabric, I can stretch it, not quite my wingspan, but getting there. So I know once it blocks, it's going to be much longer. So I'm hoping that I will at least have enough to get all the way around once it's blocked, because I could probably stretch it to my mid back if I really gave her. Anyways, so once I get to the end of this side, I'll put eyelets like all the way along, not too close, like about the same spacing as I've been doing on the edge, and then buttons, those buttons that I showed with the woven cover last week, and then it'll be done. Needs to be done and blocked and dry by Friday 4:30. So maybe it's a good thing today's a sick day for Miles, so I have a good excuse to do nothing but this. I mean, it's garter stitch, so it's not like it's an extremely mindless knit. The only thing I have to think about is I did a double salvage edge on the side, which I think is my new favorite salvage edge ever, because I just think it looks so clean. So you can kind of see here how there's like a knit stitch showing on this side and a knit stitch showing on this side, as opposed to a usual salvage edge when you just slip and you just get like a knit braid along the edge that would face out.
What you're doing, which is what I'm doing on the work end shawl.
I don't remember. Is it?
Yeah. Because I remember specifically looking at this being like, oh, this is interesting.
I forgot that I had used it on that. Yeah, I just think it looks so neat. It's like, you do have to think about it, but I just think it looks so neat. So basically all you do is, yeah.
Correct. And then on this side is not, so it's not double. It's just.
Oh, I think yours just has just a salvage stitch.
So okay. I didn't know what it was called.
Yeah. Okay. So there's different kinds of salvage edges. So just a salvage edge, in my experience anyways, is like when I would start this row, I would just slip the first stitch, and then I would, like, for this, it's garter, so I've knit the rest of the row. And then when I come back, that's when I would work that stitch. So I'd only be working that first stitch of this side every other row. So it kind of makes this, if you slip it the right way and work it the right way, because you don't want it to be like all twisty, it's like a nice braided edge that would face like this way where my hand is. A double selvage edge is like you use the first 2 stitches to create it. So the side of the work that I'm looking at, I'm going to slip this first stitch and knit the second stitch. And then when I come back, I'm going to slip the stitch that I had previously knit and knit the one that I had slipped. So both stitches get worked every other. It's almost like creating like an I-cord edge, but just with 2 stitches. So you get like one slip that's visible on this side and one that's visible on this side. So it creates this like little, they kind of ladder up. So it still looks neat on this side, and now it looks neat on the front and back. So it's perfect for a reversible kind of pattern like this, because it's just garter stitch with holes. I mean, I don't really need it to be reversible because I will have buttons very obviously on one side. But what I was thinking is, depending on how I button it, I could button it and then have this, you know, kind of flop over at the top or something like that. I mean, well, not on that side, but, you know, on the button side, you could have it partially buttoned and then have some flop over. You see the tiny hand, like.
I thought, I was like, where'd you grow another hand?
Anyway, so I was thinking if part of it flops over, then I don't have to worry about, oh no, the wrong side showing, or the edging is not going to look as nice because it's just a nice clean edge the whole way. So that's that. So mission will be done by Friday. I will have a picture on my Instagram at some point of me wearing my dress with my wrap. That will be finished. And then I'll probably wear it next time we record to make the trilogy of the red wrap complete. The final installment. Anyways.
Yeah.
That's basically why I have not been doing, I made no progress, no changes to my flamingo tilted cowl. I keep thinking about it. I'm like, I just need to do that last section. It's not like a hard section, but I'm just like, I just need to get this red wrap done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to do a whip?
Sure.
I'm also knitting while we podcast.
It's good. It's actually good timing because I have the same predicament. Not really the same thing, because I don't have an end date necessarily of when this needs to be done. But I've also just, the only thing that I have worked on since the last time we recorded is this. But I mean, I made like major progress. Obviously, you can see that because
last time when it was like a mini.
It was just
tiny. Yeah.
Trying to make it triangle.
A triangle.
Oh man, I was thinking more about the size than the shape. Anyways, a triangle about that size. So yeah, here's the progress that I've made. And I just like, part of it is like, I want to finish it because it's for you. Like, you know, I think if I were to, because I have so many other things that I want to work on, like, but they're for Christmassy kind of stuff. If I shift to those, it's like I'm not going to come back to this until the new year.
Yeah.
And I'm probably not going to want to come back to it because, I mean, it's great. It's going to be a really awesome Halloween shawl, because like the last section is this dark, it's like looks black, but really it's like this, it's mostly deep purple, right? Some black in there too. I don't know if it's just supposed to be like really, really deep purple or if it just comes up black. Anyway, yeah, it'll be a super awesome Halloween shawl, but I'm like, I'm in Christmas mode, and then in the, you know, January, I'm not going to be in Halloween mode anymore. So I'm almost done. Just got to finish the purple and then the last color, and then it's finished. And it's been really neat. Like, people in my house are really drawn to it. My husband was sitting beside me one night while I was working on it. He's like, oh, it's like, I just want to stare at this stitch pattern. So that excites me as well to keep me going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that stitch pattern is definitely like one of those stitch patterns. I used it to make just kind of like an improvised vest that I've not actually worn, thinking about it. Yeah, I used it for the back of like an improvised vest, and then I was like, yeah, I'm not done with this yet. So I used it for that too. And I still feel like I might have to make one more thing with that stitch pattern. Sorry, I'm trying to trying to work on the red wrap while we chat, and my needle is coming off the cord. So I was like, why does the stitches keep getting stopped? Oh yeah, that was one thing I was going to mention too. I feel like part of my like slow productivity with this earlier this week is I was using my ChowGoo. I was going to grab them. Oh yeah, and I never talked about the bag. So many things that I'm remembering all of a sudden. My brain is not firing very quickly today, so just bear with me. So hold on. Bag that I'm in love with that I grabbed at the KW Knitters Fair from J. Hendry Design Co. And I can't remember her Instagram handle, but I'll try to put it on the screen, that she had set aside for me after I admired it on her Instagram. So I was very happy to have found her. And it's just like a really great size for like, it looks quite large, but I would call it like a medium to large bag. Sorry, there's a lot of background noise because I have a visitor again. I would call this a medium to large bag, because it's good for like a shawl, but I don't know if it would hold like a full sweater. But I love it. It's got a little pocket on the inside. I love the lining, how everything like coordinates.
Mommy, can you put this on my seat?
It's a headrest part for the baby seat, and it doesn't go on your seat anymore. Go see if you can put it on the couch. Anyways, yeah, I just love that it's like, you know, got this like kind of minty color in the background of the trees or the, I don't know, woodcuts, but then the lining, the little cross hatches are also that minty color. And then this little pocket also has that minty color. I just think it's so cool. Anyways, and I love this little strap. Great. Anyways, so slow knitting on this in garter stitch of all things, because I was using my ChowGoo. I think the line is called something with the red cord, but I can't remember what. So they're 5mm, nothing too fancy. I generally, like, these are currently my favorite needles of all time, and I've used quite a few different brands, because I love that this comes in a 4-inch tip. So if you can see, this bottom one is the Knit Picks, the nickel plated ones, and I only have the 5mm one because, you know, they pop up those little, want to try this out? And I was like, sure. So yeah, so this is the Knit Picks nickel plated. This is the ChowGoo. So you can see the difference in the length. I quite like the 4-inch tip because I feel like it's like just enough to fit in my hand, and depending on the size of what I'm knitting, I don't get as many of those awkward spots where I feel like the stitches are trying to like stretch to fit the space on the needle, if that makes sense.
That's like the ones I'm using right now. Oh, and then you just like go and like, come on, guys. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like generally speaking, my work is so much faster on these 4-inch tips. I also like the point of the tips. I don't know how easy it is to see.
Still, yeah.
They're not ridiculously pointy, but they're like, again, for a 5mm needle tip, they're pointier than the majority of what I have, because I mostly have a lot of Knit Picks and then a few, you know, random one-offy things. They're just enough. There's just enough extra point compared to most other needles that, again, it just speeds up my work. However, because they are stainless steel, I believe, they're not quite as smooth. So the nickel plated is like almost glass-like. It's like you can see the difference in the shine even. The nickel plated on this side and the ChowGoo over here. The nickel plated are so smooth, and the ChowGoo have a little bit, just the teensiest bit of texture, just enough to grab on this clung forest that's 100% wool, and then just slow me down. So there's been several times where it's like, you know, you push all the stitches up to the tip of the needle, knit, and when they start to get slightly stretched apart, I usually end up using my index finger to push the needle down into the stitches instead of stopping and pushing the stitches up. My finger was killing me because there's like that pointiness and jamming my finger and really having to push it. Whereas like when I do it with these, I hardly even feel it now. Probably my nerve endings are deadened from that knitting method. Anyways, I don't know why I suffered through this like all friggin' week when I finally cast this on as garter, which I don't recall exactly what day I did that, but I suffered through. And then last night I was like, I was so tired last night too. It's like, why don't I switch the needles? I was like, so dumb. So wherever I found my nickel plated knit picks and switched them. And now it's just like flying off the needles. Like, so dumb. Anyways, generally endorse ChiaoGoo. Love the cord. The cord is my absolute favorite because it's like metal with like a plastic coating. So it has no memory. It's like perfect. But in this specific, right needles for the right project kind of situation. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Did you have more to say about your shawl?
The only thing
yarn.
Pardon?
I don't think you mentioned what the yarn is.
Oh, well, we talked about last time, didn't we? Or did we not? Did we not actually get to that? So this is we did talk about this. The Knit Picks Stroll Gradient in the hologram colorway. I sound like a big girl knitter now.
Podcasting like a pro,
right? And so that's what the yarn is. And you and I had a conversation about this yarn yesterday because I was like, I don't mean to sound like a complainer, but I'm not really loving the colors together. And I don't really, especially with like going from this like bright orange to the light pink, that was like really bothering me and then I was like talking about how I just wished that, I don't know if it'll be able to pick it up, but it's like, it's so neat because obviously you knit row going up, but like the colors, to me, it's like they're waving this way along the pattern. So you'll get like a little like inch by inch block. Can you see a message just came up on my screen?
No.
Okay, good. Because a messenger message just came up and I was like, uh-oh.
I heard a little noise, but I wasn't sure what it was, but.
Okay. So like inch by inch, it's like you can tell it's like a little bit darker orange right there, and then a little bit lighter, and like more of the pink is showing up there, and then like it goes like that all the way along. And I was like, I wish there was more section like this to really help the transition from the bright orange to the pink. But anyway, then you were saying like, well, you don't know how exactly Knit Picks does their dyeing. But when you said like it's potentially like you just drop in the dark color here, like with one color here and then one color here, and then watch them bleed together and see what happens. I was like, oh, if that's how it works, and I don't know if that's how it works, I'm like, that's actually making it more exciting for me to knit this again. Like, I really, and then we were talking about that last week as well with your national parks yarn, like to know the story behind the yarn, how it's dyed, or why someone selected that is like, that's what really makes it something fascinating for me. And I actually like, it kind of works with like how my brain works other, like outside of knitting. I really like to like get to know people. Like, why did you end up in this role and stuff like that? So the Christy, I love Christy Glasses because she talks to the people and find out, what their backstory is like what pulls me into somebody. So
totally.
Anyhow, so this like that also gave me like a renewed excitement for this, because at the beginning it was like exciting to start to see the color change, but then I didn't like how the color was changing, so I was like, but then Jason was like, excited about the patterns. I was like, oh, keep going, make it look bigger. And then you talking about one possibility of how Knit Picks might have
and I honestly have no idea how Knit Picks like dyes their yarn. I'm like, it'd be really cool to like see how a bigger company does it versus how smaller dyers do it, because there are so many ways to essentially not achieve the same thing, but there are just so many different dye techniques that you could then put under the umbrella of a gradient or whatever, a speckle or a tonal or whatever. So it's like, it's just neat to see how different people do it and how those different dye methods do result in skeins that are really, really different looking, or even really similar, like how two different techniques can get you a similar looking effect. I just think it's really cool.
Yeah, so cool. Yeah.
And that was part of the reason of buying the Knit Picks gradient, because there are other gradients that I like, but I wanted to see what their gradient looks like, just because, like when you see it in a cake, that it's gives you an idea of what the predominant colors will be, but not so much how they transition together. So
right.
I was kind of curious to see.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That was all. I just really wanted to say that. So like, I was thinking that too, like, oh, you cut me off, and I wanted to talk about like the dyes. I mean, it's not even like we don't even know if that's how it happened, but.
yeah. But you can see that there's a regularity there, like between those two skeins where the colors are starting to transition. They're just the two strands next to each other. You can see where like one's darker, one's significantly lighter. So like there is something to that. Like, you know, either it's just where those two skeins were in like the line of all the skeins that were being dyed or whatever. Somehow they're not, you know, like an acrylic that can be just more regular, more predictable in the way that it's put together, or at least, you know, in one dye lot be more predictable kind of thing. Anyways, more whips. So
that's my only whip.
Yeah, I did, I think since the last time we chatted, work a little bit more on this pending pattern. Only because I cannot resist it. I keep leaving it in places with the bag open and it's like sticking out a little bit. And I'm like, okay, I'll just do like 2 rows. Like, I just really want to see it grow into what I want it to be, you know?
The nosebleed.
Yeah. So this is knitting it up, her 11 colorway from her Stranger Things mystery yarn collection, I guess, the second colorway in that series. And the gray is Yarn Ink Raven colorway on her Tough Sock base. So yeah, so this is the first section here, and then this is where it's going, and I'm starting to decrease on this edge so that the slope there will match up with the slope here, and it'll become a cowl with some buttons. Anyways, I just can't stop knitting on it because it's quite enjoyable. And it's really not, I mean, the, you know, 2 colors striping together, it's not exactly the most exciting design feature, but it's something about it I really enjoy knitting. Like, you know, getting to that place where then you can switch the colors again. I'm like, okay, I'll just do one more, you know, there and back with the gray. And then I'm like, all right, one more with the pink. And then, all right, one more with the gray. You know, like I just keep wanting to do it. Ready for what?
I'm ready.
What you ready for, bud?
Wait for this.
Ready for what? Nobody can see you. You have to hold it up higher. See, this is where I am. So if you can see it on this screen, then Annie will be able to see you.
I can't see you, Miles.
Hold your car up. Hold it up.
Do you have wings? Are there wings?
You didn't add wings to your other thing. You brought Lego Lightning McQueen.
Thanks for showing me.
What happened to your other thing that you were going to add wings to? Okay, go get it.
Oh, Lightning McQueen, can you go get your friend the plane with wings?
Forward. Anyways, and I'm knitting this on my Chowgu red, I don't know, whatever they call it, red lace or red label or something like that. Or maybe that's only the smaller ones. I don't know. 4-inch tips, 3.5 millimeter. Oh, and I didn't, last week I don't think I showed the bag that I had this in because I feel like the bag nicely matches with the whole theme. So this one is...
That's for the 11.
Yeah, for my...
right.
What it'll be called. Oh, I do know what it'll be called, but I'm not going to tell you yet. Only because I feel like it requires a story and I want to keep this going.
How do you hold on to all these secrets?
I don't know. I'm ready to burst.
You're going to end up with a stomach ulcer.
This is why I can't lose weight, because I'm harboring secrets. Right?
Let it out, Thamo.
It's not like a big secret. I just feel like it requires a bit more story. And then I was trying to move along because my friend here is getting impatient. Anyway, so this bag is by, I think she's Jenna Rose on Instagram, and I can't recall if that's also her shop name. From when she had a sale a little while ago. I believe she hand screen prints her fabric and designs them all. She has several patterns. I really want one of her bee bags as well, but I definitely knew I had to. I think Jody had a bag with this print on it on the Grocery Girls podcast. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, going to Jenna Rose. Because I don't know, dark and stormy, that's me. And for the Stranger Things, I don't know, I just feel like I identify with this pattern. And for the Stranger Things colorways, I feel like it specifically works well. They met 11, it was raining and dark and stormy. Just goes with the theme. Anyways, next whip, the only other thing that I have worked on since the last time we recorded are my Molly Weasley socks. And the only reason I ended up working on them was because I took my youngest to the dentist yesterday, so I needed something to keep my hands busy. So this one I showed last time is the Nomadic Yarns in the Molly Weasley colorway on her sport base, because I love a sport sock. So the orange, pink, kind of like a brownie color, and then the burgundy and the minty, dark minty, and the gold. I love it. I feel like it looks too big, so I have to try it on again, because I always try them on when I finish the toe, which does not give you an accurate read for if a sock is going to fit on the rest of your foot. Like, no. It just doesn't. And almost always when I get here, I put it on, I go, oh yeah, this will be perfect. But then it's like, as soon as you go in the round, I don't really understand why, but it gets a little bit wider. Like, and so then I put on my foot and I'm like, now it's too big. So I should try it on again just to make sure before I get much further than this, because if it's too loose right now, like a little bit loose, I don't mind. I don't like a sock with a lot of negative ease. I wanted either no ease or like the teensiest amount of positive ease. But if it has a lot of positive ease now, it's just going to get stretched out and, whatever over time. So then it's going to be floppy sock syndrome, which I do not like. So I will try it on in a little bit and see if this
I'm liking how the stripes change width. I expected that it was going to be all the same width, but I'm liking those.
It is all the same width. This one on my camera, I don't know if you can, I don't have good light today. It's very gray, and I didn't want to turn on the overhead light because then it's very yellow. This is 2 different colors.
Okay.
All the stripes are about 3 rows in height. Like, the majority of them are about 3 rows in height, but there is a slight, can you kind of see it there? It's like browner. And then
you can a bit more now. I'd like to see them in person.
Yeah.
Oh.
In person, it is still quite a subtle difference for the most part. Up here, I think the burgundy happens to be darker, but down this one, you can
a bit more,
is a little bit, there has more lighter tones, so then you can kind of see the difference. Anyways, I quite like them.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
My inner.
It's funny because you said something about brown, and I was like, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Like it's like, okay, maybe I don't know why you said brown, whatever, but there was a reason, because there is the dark brown there. Anyways, it does look all the same. And I kind of like the fact that it was like a thicker, what I thought was burgundy, and then like, smaller, colorful. But
I don't know where the tag went. And then that one is in my, her brand is I Heart You, EUE. I believe she's Canadian, somewhere out west. But I flippin' love this fabric. So I love this fabric so much that I got this bag, and then I went back and got a bigger bag with this fabric, because I don't know what it is about these flippin' bears and their little gold accents. It just makes me smile.
That's cute. What is that one bear? He has gold eyes, eh? Oh, gold stars.
Yeah, he looks a little high with his gold starry eyes. The bow ties, and I think one has a crown and a birthday hat and the heart.
Oh, I thought that was like a beanie.
This one?
Birthday hat.
Yeah. To me, it looks like a party hat.
No, it does now.
One has a bow.
A beanie would have been cute, like with the propeller.
Yeah. Anyways, I just think, I don't know what it is about this fabric. I try not to pick bags that are like too juvenile, because I'm like, carrying them around. I do bring my project bags out of the house. So sometimes when I'm carrying them around, then I feel a little silly walking down the street with like a really juvenile bag. But it has something about this one, I feel like, because you don't really, I think from a distance, it doesn't really read as anything. Like there's no real, I don't know, it doesn't stand out to me. And then it's like when you see it up close, that's when you're like, oh, they're bears. So anyways, I really love that bag. Yeah, that's all my whips right now. Just red wrap of death. There's something I wanted to tell you. I was going to
this moment then.
Oh, you
I got out the Christmas box this morning because I was like, oh, I don't have a lot to talk about, but I'm like, I am starting to plan after this shawl is done. Then the next thing will be the stocking.
And can I just say how very right I was that it's a gingerbread?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not surprised because you worked on it.
I thought you would have committed it to memory because of how sentimental it would be to you.
Sorry.
I don't really care.
Sorry.
I was just more like surprised that I even remembered.
Yeah. Well, you worked on it. So I feel like you put it in your brain differently. We pull it out once a year for a short period, and I can't leave the stockings under the tree. Like we only pull them out on Christmas Eve after the kids go to bed so they can wake up with them. So I get to see them 2 days a year, basically. Otherwise, they'll run around the house like the one year. Ada was like, I'm gonna wear it. And if I put stuff inside of it so they can't wear it, then they're gonna pull it out and look at the stuff. So they're too young still. Anyways, so I like Ada and I sat down together and like planned out whose stockings were gonna be whose. So she's like gonna have the elf stocking that's gonna be probably mostly green, and then like an elf like a skirt. So and I was like, I can't remember how you did this, but yeah, you crocheted it, and then this is like a cord over top of it. Hey, like you did the bulk of the stocking. How did you add? No, you did. It's color work. Okay, never mind.
It's not. It's like I crocheted on top, like kind of embroidering it in.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, I didn't want to make them too complicated because then they were going to take a longer time. So I just knit and I think crocheted, sorry. I think I said that to you too with the, like with all the stockings, my intention was just to like knit a plain stocking and then add the details on top. So yeah, to make the icing part, I just go into each hole as you go across, pull up a loop, and like making a chain, but it's like an applied chain. So you're going through the
crochet, is it not?
Yeah. Sorry, I keep saying knit.
Okay. I was like, am I like, wow, I really don't know then. What's to do?
No, it is crocheted. That makes it much faster.
Yeah, I'm excited to work on these. Yeah, okay. Anyways, that's Clarky's stocking. His elf stocking. His gingerbread stocking. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Morgan's gonna be a snowman. It is the girl elf and Mrs. Claus, which I'm like really uninspired for my own stocking. I like went on to like get some ideas for each of the stockings. Basically, to make it look like Mrs. Claus, I have to put an apron on her. That's like the least. I mean, I like baking and stuff, but spending my time in my kitchen is like the least part of my day. Just because I'm usually taking a bunch of orders, and it feels. I like cooking, but not taking a bunch of orders from people anyway. So I'm like, that's what I have to get to put on my stocking is an apron.
I wouldn't. That's not what I would do.
I don't know what else to do for Mrs. Claus then. To like make it.
I think I would do it like all red, but I would probably do a white toe or a black toe, like a shoe or something. And then do like a white, if you can make it like a fluffier band at the top, like she's wearing like a fur collar on her jacket. And then I would probably do like a really big bow in the middle and then black buttons down. So like if you can get like a white, like even a bulky yarn and like crochet it really loosely, like a white fluffy top,
right?
A big bow in the middle, even if you can get like some sparkly red or something else to like zhuzh it up a little bit, like yes, big sparkly floppy bow in the middle, black either crocheted on or actual buttons down, and then like maybe a white heel and toe or just toe.
Yeah. That does sound nice.
I would make it more like Mrs. Claus's winter coat rather than like Mrs. Claus in the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's true.
If you're doing one for Jason that's Santa, it's going to be like Santa's coat, not Santa building toys with his, unless you also put an apron on Jason's. That would be cool. put like a work apron on or like a tool belt on or something.
Yeah.
It's like Mrs. Claus in the kitchen and Santa Claus in the workshop.
Making the choice. Yeah, maybe. That's nice. Now that there's more options, because I was like, really like, seriously, that's it? That's all that people have is like, or that would be like very plain. And I was like, well,
Yeah.
the only thing is like she had a white belt and Santa had a black belt. And I was like, that's not very fun. Anyways, see, you're always the idea person.
It's true.
Yeah.
More ideas than time. See?
Yeah. Right.
Podcast.
What else do you want to talk about?
I've seen that like notebooks with that before, and then my sister-in-law Jamie picked it up for me, and I was like, "Yep, I definitely knew I needed to own one at some point. I have lots of notebooks, so I just never bought one. But yeah, for the podcast, it's true. Always more ideas than time. All right, I was going to talk a little bit about stashquisitions. I love a made-up word. Only because they're super cute and I'm really excited about them. And then we're going to talk about Cal, and then I think we're done, right? Okay. I did a bad thing. Don't tell my husband. Sorry, they're crinkly.
Yeah.
Pause.
Horrible.
I'm going to cut it out, so I'm going to open them both because I just didn't think to do that.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So a while back, last podcast I showed my witch sock blank from Joy Ant's Fiber Arts. Mail came. She had a shop update a little while ago, and I ordered this one that I had been eyeing for way too long, and I was like, all right, it's it. I can't stop thinking about it. It's so cute. I have to get it.
See, that's one that I would knit. I would have no problem knitting that. It's very cute and it would be fun to watch it, but I wouldn't frame that. So yeah, okay, now I can get the sock blank thing. And I'm interested to see, how will that actually work out? Where would you see those little pops?
I just think it's so flippin' cute. Love whales. Yeah, so there was that yarny indiscretion. And then
what was the cost of that?
I don't know. A girl does not discuss the cost of her stash. Let's just it's like asking your dress size, or your age.
Really?
No. I don't know. It was I think I want to say it was like 46 Canadian and then shipping. I said, don't discuss it. Don't ask questions we don't want answers to. That's what when Steve's like, how much did you spend at that fiber show? I was like, don't ask questions you don't want answers to.
Right.
You want to know, but you don't really want to know.
Don't ask questions that you know you're probably gonna get angry. Like there's no way that's gonna be a number he'd want to hear. I want to know
any amount would have been a bad answer. So I'm just like, don't ask. Like
right. I could go on her website, yes, but I want to know. So I'm like, is this something that I reasonably can expect to
Yeah, and that's why we were talking last week. I should have pulled out some of my other sock blanks. We could have a whole sock blank discussion someday. But the difference between like an art sock blank, this to me is an art sock blank. It takes a lot of work to, no, there's not another one.
I saw the snowflake. I know you got more, but it's got
this one's called Sweater Weather. And it has the oops because sometimes when she's dyeing, things happen. Like, dye is not necessarily always as well behaved as we want it to be. So I had been eyeing these, but I was like, I don't know. Like, I really like it. I just was like, I don't really need another one. And then sometimes Valerie, when there are like just imperfections, it doesn't quite work up the way she wanted it to, she'll put it on her Instagram, like in her stories. So it's kind of just like a first come, first serve if you want this oopsie one at a slightly discounted rate. And it's not so much the discounted rate that sucks me in. It's now like really one of a kind. Like, because not the other sock blanks won't look like this. It'll just be this one. And I am like, I shouldn't say this out loud, but I am a total sucker for one of a kinds. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, and it's like the same as like the single skein issue. I will buy single skeins of one of a kind colorways and later be like, well, if I had 2 of this, I could make something, but I don't, because I had to have the only one of it. It's a problem. It was a worse problem earlier this year. I was like all over the one of a kinds and like stash enhanced on the one of a kinds to a bad place. But anyways, so this is the sweater weather one. So
that's cute.
I know. And the cool thing, what I thought was really cool, is all the sweaters are
that one.
Yeah, they're currently popular sweater patterns.
Sunset Highway.
Yeah, this is Sunset Highway. I can't recall what all of them are anymore, but this is the boxy, I believe, and then I think it repeats, and I can't remember what the cabled one and stuff is, but
I recognize one.
Yeah. The sweater weather across the bottom there. Anyways, I think it was really cute.
So what did you say it already? What was imperfect? Just the color was
something with the background. I don't know if it was like something about the way the background dyes, if it was like how there's such like dark blobs with some of the snowflakes, and she wanted it a little bit more, because I think the other ones were like a little bit more muddled, like how this one is, instead of this dark, but I can't recall exactly what's the problem. Anyways, so back to what we were saying with the cost part of it. Yeah, to me, that's an art sock blank. It's special because there is a lot of time and effort that goes into that. Not that I'm saying other sock blanks don't take a lot of time and effort, but it's a different level of effort to print the sweater on the blank, to paint in each little section, to bake it and set it and wash it, and like all the steps that go into something like this, and even just to design it, because she has shared a little bit of her design process. And
sorry,
ET phone home.
Sorry, it's like the sound from my phone is like picking up my ear, and I can actually feel my eardrum like moving or something. Yeah. She's shared a little bit of her design process on Instagram, which I love. I absolutely love people's behind the scenes. I love seeing how things actually get made, and not because I think, oh, I'm going to turn around and do that, but because it just brings me like a different level of appreciation for how much effort this is. So like, she shared sitting on her computer, actually working out the design before it even gets to this part. It's not just, I sit there and I look at the blank and then I just freehand paint stuff on. Like, it takes a lot of planning, and then the execution and the trial and errors. Anyways, so I love those little oopsie sock blanks. They just, well, especially if you are gonna knit it up. But I can appreciate that from her, like that she'd want it to be look a certain way. That's what you know. But for me,
when you're ordering it, right? Like, you're going to order it based on a picture that you see on Etsy. What you want to arrive should look veritably the same, right? Whereas like I have other sock blanks, and again, I appreciate that those also take a lot of work and different dye techniques over just dyeing a skein of yarn or submerging it in a pot of dye. But they're more like speckly or spray painted looking. So the dye technique is far more irregular. I don't think it takes, I think it takes some thought and some planning, but not the same as sitting here with a paintbrush trying to make sure that the colors get exactly where you want them, right? So I should pull out I have some other sock blanks like from Stranded Dye Works and stuff like that I think are really cool and beautiful, and I cannot wait to knit with them, but just different. I know. We're gonna have to wrap this up very, very soon.
Let's just finish with the socks.
Okay, so very last thing that we wanted to chat about today. I mentioned last time our sister Kal that we were gonna do. So what we were intending was just for it to be the two of us knitting something together. This guy. What we intended was just for the two of us to knit socks that were matching or near matching, and have them ready for our family Christmas party. So we're going to cast on December 1st and get them done for December 18th, which is our family Christmas gathering. But then we chatted about it a little bit more, and we thought, wouldn't it be kind of fun if we did like a elf themed knit along, our very first official on the Lamb podcast, Knit Along. So Elf is my favorite Christmas movie. I'm not a Christmassy person, but you had me at Will Ferrell. Yeah, it is absolutely my favorite Christmas movie. We actually watch it like all year round. Like just randomly, the kids will be like, "Want to watch Elf?" I'll be like, "Yeah, I do." Whereas like any other Christmas movie, if you're like, "I want to watch it," I'd be like, "No." Like it has to be Christmas Eve or I'm not watching it. Yes.
I want to watch Elf.
All right. Thumbs up.
You know what? That we can't watch that movie in our house.
Why?
Ada, she's the same as me. We both kind of watch movies for like the human, like the relationship dynamics.
Yeah.
So any movie where like the dad gets angry, well, a parent gets angry with the child, really hurts her. Like she really can't watch that. So because the dad doesn't like Buddy, she's like, I was like the other day, I was like, "Do you want to watch Elf with me? Because I'm gonna make Elf socks." And she's like, "Elf, is that the one where the dad says, 'I'm not your father'?" And I was like, "Yes." She's like, "No, I can't watch that." I was like, "Okay." And I kind of knew that from last year too. That sometimes she'd be like, "I'm watching it." Yeah. She remembered that part.
It's funny because like that you say that, because I pick up on that a lot in movies, and especially even more now having kids. Like how many movies are geared towards kids that completely center around conflict between the parent and the child, and conflict like not like a little like pick up your shoes, no I don't want to, like it's like someone says I hate you, or someone like basically tells them like
I can't
how to train your dragon, I don't want to accept you for who you are, or Inside Out, she ends up telling her dad she hates him because she ends up saying I hate you because he's like basically
shut up
for her problem, or shut up. It's like all these little things that Chicken Little, he like doesn't believe his own son's story and like sides with the public and shaming him, and I'm like, what, why are all these movies like, and especially like because I have two boys, all I especially see is those father-son dynamics. Like, I don't accept you for who you are because you're not being like me, and I'm just like, no. All right, can you give me one more minute?
Well, I want to stay here.
Okay, but then you have to be quiet. Okay. Anyways, I just find it really hard to watch. But I still really love Elf. So, so we're going to do a knit along. It doesn't have to be socks. So we didn't really discuss rules, but let's just make some up right now. So I'm putting together a Ravelry group. By the time this is up, I will have a link there for you. Basically, just anything that makes you feel that it relates to Elf, and you can justify it. You cannot. Like, I'm pretty loosey-goosey, and I'm assuming.
So, like, for an example, you said that it could be like the Jovi hat.
Yeah. So if you're not sure,
that's a free pattern as well, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
that's like an obvious Elf reference, because it's totally inspired by the movie. And I'll go and do a little search and see if I can find a few other patterns that are inspired by the movie or related.
You know what would be fun too is like socks with his like Elf costume, like inspiration, like the gold and the green and white.
Yeah.
That would be cool too.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is Buddy the Elf, What's Your Favorite Color by Scrumptious Pearl, obviously inspired by the movie. So we're knitting our socks with that. But yeah, anything that you feel is related to Buddy, related to the movie or someone else in the movie, totally on board with that. Should we just do it like
with maple syrup as inspiration? That would be cool.
Spaghetti with candy on it. My kids love the part where he chugs the giant bottle of Coke and then belches really, really loud. So find a way to make that into a pattern. They'd be all over that.
These bubbles, actually, that would work. Yeah, for the carbonate.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's say cast on December 1st with us. We're going to be done by the 18th because that's our Christmas party deadline, but you can go right to the end, to December 31st. Do it like a Christmas knit along, Buddy Elf knit along. Totally double dip if you're knitting something for another like Christmassy knit along, and let's just keep it to the cast on by December 1st, and we will take works in progress, reasonable works in progress, like not like here's my starting chain and you did nothing else. But, you know, a 50%-ish work in progress. If you don't get finished by December 31st, that's okay with me. Or socks if you only knit one because you just can't get the other one done. That's totally fine with me. Yeah, I'll put all those details in the Ravelry group when I get that up. And yeah, we'll do one thread for chatting, and then another one for the finished objects or half finished objects, just to make the drawing a little bit easier. So I'll save doing that second part until a little closer to the end. But yeah, once that's all up and the link is there, then I want to see what you're planning to knit. I want to see your yarn or a link to the pattern to inspire others. And yeah, we'll see how that goes, because I have never knit a KAL before. And I'll give you a hashtag so you can share on Instagram, because I'm definitely more of an Instagrammer than I am anything else. And then maybe by the next time we get together or the time after that, sometime in the near future, we'll figure out some prizes that we might have to give away.
I already have one idea, and I'm like, I really want to make that happen. So I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that was it. I feel like there was one other thing I was going to say, but we should wrap up because a friend here is getting impatient.
It's time.
All right.
Bye, Miles.
You say bye?
Bye.
Say bye, yarny people.
Say happy knitting.
Bye.
Say happy knitting.
Happy knitting.
Say bye, yarny people.
Bye, bye.
Hey, Miles.
What?
What's knitting? Can't see that. Can you use words to describe it? How would you describe it? What's knitting? How do you knit? What do you use to knit? I do knit in the car.
You will one day make some kind of a loom with a race car, and it'll be like under the engine or something.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Have fun watching Alf.
Okay. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
See you next time.
Oh.
Stay yarny.
Mama. Mama.